Does Raylan know to come in here?
Yes. Actually, sure, it says her. I know. Oh, and I gotta get my actual questions out. That's a good idea. That would be helpful. Damn. This is really professional.
I feel like I'm at counseling, like a major intense counseling.
I know, this is
This
is actually really awkward.
when I had to go for this. For this workout. It's horrible.
Well, please don't. This won't be like that. I hope. You're really rethinking that nomination, right? It's okay.
You can leave anytime.
All right. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. So, first question. How old are you?
I'm 17.
17? Okay. Oh, and just as a pointer, you can look there, you can look at me, you can look at anyone. It's just comfortable conversation. Super comfortable. When is your birthday?
June 22nd.
June 22nd. Okay. I'm gonna actually. Just for publication purposes. But you're 17 right now. Okay.
1996.
Oh no, it's okay. So you're a rat. I'm a
am.
rat too. Yeah. Who do you currently live with?
Do you have to have a microphone too?
No. No, I'm good. Yeah. It's okay.
I live with my mom and my stepdad and my stepbrother, and then my little brother lives with his grandparents, but he comes on the weekends most of the time.
Okay. Could you possibly give me their names?
My mom's name is Leanne. My stepdad's name is Bo.
Wait, can you also spell them?
Sorry. My mom's name is Leanne. Leanne.
Okay, and it's like the A thing?
No.
No, okay.
Sorry.
Okay, and then your stepdad?
BOA.
BOA?
You can sit anywhere. That chair's a little.
Yeah,
if
you
you
can
sit in it, it breaks.
So comfy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a little scary.
Very scary.
Okay, so you got Bo?
BOA?
Yeah, it
Okay.
sounds like it's. Yeah.
BOA.
Yeah.
Alright,
And
and
then
then.
my stepbrother is Sam.
Is this videoing?
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
right. It's coming from right there.
Oh, here, if you sit right here, it won't. You can sit right here.
Oh, there you go.
There,
Perfect.
It won't
perfect.
catch me,
Yeah.
right?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Alright, so Sam and then your little brother?
Jeremiah.
Okay, and is he your actual brother or
He is my half brother. Yeah, we have different dads.
Jeremiah?
Jeremiah.
Wait, Jere.
MIAH.
MIH.
Is
Okay,
Bo
sorry.
his dad?
Huh?
Is Bo his dad?
No, his dad. Jeremiah's dad passed away.
That's right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Does he-
I don't really know. He doesn't really talk about it very much, but.
But he comes down like every weekend? Or?
Well, he just lives in like Otis. Like he goes to
Oh,
school
okay.
here, but he comes over to our house like sometimes during the week, but mostly on
Who
the
does he
weekends.
live with?
He lives with his grandparents, so his dad's
Jeremiah?
parents. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. What is your earliest memory?
Oh, I tried so hard to think about this. My earliest memory is probably when my mom was pregnant with my little brother, and we would always go to regatta grounds, and she would always let me sit on her lap even when she was pregnant, and we would go down the huge slide, and then like slide off of it together, and we would just always go to the park together, and that's all I can remember.
That's okay.
It's like, I was like 4, maybe 3 or 4. I can't remember.
That's pretty happy.
I remember seeing my dad for the first time actually in my kitchen, but it's very brief and it was really uncomfortable. That's all. I was like 3 then probably.
Oh, yeah.
But
Where is your dad now? Like, what's
he
his
lives
situation?
in Portland, and he like I think it was just before I was born. He like getting back into drugs. So my mom, like, she's pregnant obviously, and she wanted to get away from all that, and he wasn't willing to like stop everything. So I think she just got away from him, and he never really decided to be a part of my life until like that one time he came down to Lincoln City because we moved here when I was like 8 months old or something like that, and he came down to see us like once, and then he hasn't got a hold of me until like a couple years ago. He called me on my birthday, and that was really special, but
she pregnant with Jeremiah at the time? When you would, like, go down the slide?
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. Alright. And, so, when we were talking about, like, when you woke up, 2 days before your 6th birthday, could you, like, recap that?
Well, so, first of all, my mom did come down to Lincoln City to get away from the drugs and stuff in Portland. And then, when we moved here, I think, as far as I remember, like, in what she's told me, she did really good for a while. And then, she got back into drugs, I believe, and then she got pregnant with Jeremiah. And that's when she was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. And then Jeremiah's dad was still into drugs, so she had to get away from him also. And that was a really hard relationship. I remember, like, laying in bed with my mom sometimes, and she would just be bawling her eyes out, and I would just have to lay there and, like, comfort her. And I was, like, 5 years old,
Yeah.
trying to calm my mom down from, like, a heartbreak because my little brother's dad would just leave all the time. And then I remember Jeremiah being born, like, obviously I didn't watch it, but I remember, like, him, and then, like, having a new sibling, and it was really different, and I just was so close, I felt like, to my mom and him because my mom didn't have somebody to help her take care of him, so I was kind of, like, stepping in, and my older brother wasn't really around a bunch back then either. And so, I just remember all that, and then my mom, I thought she was doing better with drugs, and I thought she was totally away from them, but then I started to, like, kind of notice a difference in her, and I started noticing, like, around, like, 4 and 5, I just remember that. And then, I would just always remember seeing different people coming in and out of the house all the time, and, like, I knew some of them, so it wasn't really weird, and I was young, I didn't really think anything of it. But then, oh yeah, it was 2 days before my 6th birthday. I remember me and my mom had planned, like, my first birthday party, and we were gonna go to McDonald's, and, like, I just was so excited, and we were gonna play in, like, the Play Palace together, and we had all these little plans. And then 2 days before we were gonna do that, I was sleeping out on the couch, and I just remember waking up to, like, there was, like, 2 cops, I think, standing in front of the couch with, like, flashlights and stuff, and, like, looking in my eyes, to, like, make sure I was okay. And then I looked around, and I remember seeing dogs in my house, like, searching everywhere. And the last part I remember about it was just hearing my little brother, like, screaming, and I was worried, like, that's my little brother, what's going on? And I was just really, really scared. And I can't remember saying anything really, but I just remember being really worried and, like, wondering what was going on because I had no idea. Because in my mind, like, my mom was doing everything just fine. And so then I looked out into the kitchen, and from my couch you could, like, see the kitchen. And so I looked over, and I saw my mom being, like, thrown onto the ground face first, and, like, she had a wig because she had some, like, hair loss issues. And her wig, like, flew off, and I just remember her, like, looking up at me and just looked so sad. Like, I can't even describe the look on her face, but it was just so painful. And that's the last thing I remember, like, seeing my mom. And then they just pulled her away, and I remember she was just screaming and, like, just saying, just let me say goodbye. And, like, I just remember, like, sometimes I feel like I put those own words into my head, but then when I talked to my mom about it, it just, like, it's like all that really did happen. Because for a long time I just would, like, fall asleep at night and, like, picture those things, and I would feel so fake, and I would just, like, kind of brush it off and be like, I'm just making this up, because I was so young. And just part of me wanted to think it was fake, but it's all so real now. And
Was she selling?
that's what she got accused of. And my mom told me that she said she wasn't actually selling them, but some things were, like, obvious in the house that there were some people there that either were selling them, or, like, some of the cops found, like, tinfoil and, like, little things like that are, like, have to, with selling drugs. So I don't know. She said she wasn't, and that somebody else accused her of selling drugs.
It's in the past anyway.
Yeah.
Was just great. And I hope I'm not bogarting. You're doing a great job.
No, you're fine.
Is it okay if I?
Oh, absolutely. That's what
Okay.
you're here for.
All right.
You're good.
I'm so curious. I would
She's
love to
never
be a
heard
talk show
this
host.
story.
Yeah, you would be really good
Like,
at that.
that's my secret.
The radio show, yeah.
Dream.
The radio show. Oh
Yeah,
my
that
gosh.
sounds perfect.
Do it.
We could have it together.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm not trying to
No,
bogart
you're
your
fine.
deal.
You're asking perfect questions.
Okay.
You're good.
And really quick, I'm curious too, as a listener, how your mom got into drugs.
I have no idea.
How,
really.
what, was it just a casual pot smoke? I mean, that would be something good
Yeah.
to find out for, as a life lesson in this writing, for someone who's reading it.
Yeah,
even,
exactly.
is
And
how,
I've
what,
always wondered the same thing.
yeah, and how it, is it hard to talk to her about? Does she get upset?
No, she's really good about talking about it, but I don't think she really knows what, like,
Did
Yeah.
it start with
but
casual pot? Was the pot the gateway, I'm wondering?
she tells me that a lot because she gets worried, you know,
Yeah.
because of some of the people that, like, especially these past couple years, I've been, like, branching out to different groups and
Right.
stuff, you know, so she gets really worried and always tells me, like, that, yeah, I guess she has said that, you know, pot is the first thing.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
leads to everything. Like, it really is the gateway drug is what she told me. And I don't think that that was her signature thing. I think she just got caught up with some friends and, like,
Right.
tried the wrong thing. And then she said the first time she tried it, she just couldn't help it. Like, she hated it, I think, is what she was telling me. But she just, you know,
Pot
there's just
or
something
higher
about
drugs?
it. No, the higher, like the
Ecstasy?
Yeah.
Or is that what it was, meth? Or?
I'm not sure. She was on addicted to meth when I got taken away. That was the main thing going on was meth around the whole house pretty much.
Okay.
So
That's probably why the police were so,
Yeah.
because meth is so
Mhm.
dangerous
Yeah.
for people and kids. And
yeah, I mean I'm sure there was pot around all the time, but meth was the thing. So
You know, I'm gonna let you do your thing and not be, I just
No,
had to get
you are fine.
your things
I love
closed
it.
in there
Yeah.
for this.
No, it's perfect. You're good.
but yeah, so on that day, so I saw my mom. That like face expression was the last time I saw her, and then I just remember one of the it wasn't a cop, it was like a caseworker or something, brought my little brother into the living room and like sat him down next to me, and I just remember looking outside because we had this big living room window, and I looked outside and there was so many cop cars outside out front, and like a couple like DHS cars, and just unbelievably, like it was just so scary looking outside. I was so confused because, you know, like I said, in my mind my mom wasn't doing anything wrong. Like I was having just like we were gonna have a birthday party.
Yeah.
She's not a bad mom, you know. And so I was just really confused. It was my main thing. Is just confused and hurt and scared of like where am I gonna go? And I just remember the last thing at my house was one of the officers asked me if I wanted to, like, we had this little whiteboard that we would always like write each other little notes on it, and he asked if I wanted to like leave her a picture or anything. And so I drew like a picture, I remember, on the whiteboard of me and my little brother and my older brother like on the swing set, and then my mom was like pushing us or something. And I'll always remember that. And then I had the officer write like I love you, mom, or something. That was the last thing at home, and then they put us in. They like walked us outside, and like most of the cop cars were gone by then, but there was still some like searching inside the house, you know, and the dogs were still there. And I remember they put us in the DHS cars, me and my little brother together, and then my older brother, he was there, but I don't remember him coming with us. I don't think he did come with us because I think he was like 16 at the time, and his dad lived up in Portland. And
Was he living with his dad?
And he was normally living with us, but he got to move in with his dad. He didn't have to go to foster care at all. And then me and my little brother went to the same foster home that day. And then I think, we stayed the night there. But when we got there, there was so many kids there.
At the home?
Yeah, and there was just like, I just remember walking in, and to me it felt like a zoo because I'm so used to like, I had like kids my age that I would hang out with sometimes, and I'm still actually really close to some of the kids that I hung out with back then, which is really cool to talk about like the difference in our lives now. But I just was so used to being around like adults, it seemed like, and so I walked into this house and it was insane. I just felt like there were so many kids like climbing everywhere. That probably wasn't it, but to me that was like,
Right.
get away from me.
Yeah, big mean girls.
It was just like so crazy. And so, I don't know, it was just insane. And I don't even remember the parents of the house like talking to me very much. I think, of course, they probably like introduced themselves, but after that I don't really remember them at all. Although I do know that the foster mom I had worked at the Safeway pharmacy for a really long time, and she never remembered me. I would walk by like every day, and I would totally remember I would go up and she would just totally not even notice me. So that just like, it just makes me realize how many kids like go through these houses every day, you know, and it's just, it kind of like, for a while I was just like, wow, she's rude, but then I was like, it's probably not her, like she probably just gets so many kids in and out of her house. And so,
Poor kid.
yeah, we stayed the night there, and then the next day, I don't remember my little brother not being with me, but all of a sudden, a different family came to pick me up, and I went to their house, and my little brother went to his grandparents' house. So ever since then, he was like almost a year old. He's lived with his grandparents, and so that's just all he's known. He grew up calling them mom, and I think he calls his grandpa Papa, but mom and Papa, that's like he just has grown up with them, and so that's a little bit hard. But so I went into foster care. I was the only one out of us 3 kids living there that had to go to foster care, so that also was
Your
really,
brother
really
was
hard
with
for
his,
me.
or older brother was with his
Yeah,
dad?
my older
and
brother
then-
was with his dad. My younger brother went with their grandparents, and I was the only one who got put in foster care. So at first, that was really hard for me because I was like, is this my fault that like everything's happening? And so I just had a lot of different thoughts about that. But then I just remember going into this foster home, and I was a wreck. I sat on their living room floor and cried for like 3 hours, and I remember that they had like some family over sitting on the couch, and I just felt like everyone was sitting there staring at me crying for 3 hours. And I talk to their family about that now, and they still remember me
Is it
sitting there
Destiny's?
crying. Yeah,
Okay.
Destiny. And so the kids there were, they had, I think at the time they had like 4 kids living there, but the 3 of them are like biological kids. There's Brayton, which is a younger brother. He's like Jeremiah's age. And then there's Destiny, who's a year and a half older than me. And then there was James, who is quite a few years older than me. And that was all their biological kids. And then they would have different foster kids coming in and out all throughout the 4 years that I was there.
Yeah. So, okay, I didn't really do my research, I'll admit, but
That's
ho-
okay.
so how does the foster care system, like the homes, work? So because you went to one house first, and then you ended up staying with Destiny's family for the majority, right?
Yeah, and that's why I was kind of confused about it too, because, like, I don't know, because you see, like, foster homes and orphanages in movies, and it's nothing like an orphanage you see in a movie. Like, it's nothing like that, but...
There's no Annie.
Yeah, no, it was just, I don't really know why they put me in that first home. I think maybe there's certain foster parents that just take the kids for a certain amount of time until they find a, like,
Yeah, they're not,
designated
they're
home
more
for them.
rotating foster
Okay.
parents, and then there are foster parents that just want permanent,
Okay.
like kids that are gonna stay a long time, so I think there's a couple different
Yeah.
kinds, and so they know, oh, this lady will take her until we can find a place that's gonna hold,
Okay.
have her for a while.
Yeah.
Alright,
I'm gonna
so,
be right back, I'm gonna get my phone because I don't wanna be in here in our own world and then, cause I don't think you can hear out there
yeah,
very
no,
well.
that's totally fine.
I'll be right back.
Okay. So, like Destiny's,
What is that thing?
that is the timer, and it means that, here. No, you're fine, you can go.
I think I broke one of the little white things.
That's okay, that's alright. So this only records for 20 minutes at a time, so I just have to restart it. Please tell me I just recorded that. What just happened? Oh my god. 16 minutes and 21 seconds. Now that sounds kind.
Yeah, because you started recording after you put the timer.
Yeah. Alright. Alright. Well, do this again, I guess. There we go. Wait, what does that mean? It's saying, it's like counting down.
No, maybe it was when it's gonna start. No, I'm not very good at
Oh, I don't know,
technology.
because it's saying like 2 minutes and 30 seconds, 29, 28. does make like a click, so maybe we'll just have to listen to it.
Yeah.
It's all recorded on your phone too.
Yeah, that's true. So. Yeah. No. Okay.
The double covered.
Yeah, exactly. We're good. So Destiny's family, they were kind of like they were one of those people that wanted like permanent kids, you know, to stay with them, or.
Yeah, and I mean, they did have some that came in and out too, but most of the time the kids stayed for at least like 2 weeks probably. But I think that they were more of a family that, I don't know how it works if there is like separate families like that, but they definitely had kids longer than the other house did. That's what I know about that. So.
And do you know why like people sometimes only stayed for a few days, or?
Well, in my mind, like when I was there, I would think that they were going straight back to their families.
Okay.
And so that would make me really angry, actually. I was really, really, really resentful towards those kids that got to leave so early.
Yeah.
And especially at first because I didn't want to be there. I didn't know these people. They were really weird at the time because I was like, they were so, like, I felt like they were so judgmental and they hated my family and they hated me and like, they didn't like my mom and my mom was such a bad person and I had to do everything just right and like, they were super Christian, which, you know, back then I had no idea even what that meant and they were just so crazy to me. And it was really hard for me to like adapt to that, especially coming from what I just came from. And to see these kids like that would just come and be so rude to this family and do different things, you know, and just be just fine and then just leave and go back to their families was like heartbreaking to me. And so I don't know. Most of the time I think they did go back to their families, but I think a lot of them might have got switched into different foster care for reasons I have no idea about. But each foster kid had their own like caseworker, so the caseworker would come see them like maybe once or twice in like a month, I don't know, and just like kind of interview them on how things are going. So if the kid like absolutely hates the place or something, I'm sure that they have options to switch for certain reasons. I mean, you have to have a valid reason, but so kids just went in and out different.
And sometimes the issues are that, like, they can go back because they legally can't keep them out longer. They just had, you know what I mean? But there was, obviously, it was your mom needed to get clean.
Yeah.
And so there's just different, but you don't know that, you know?
Yeah, I just had no idea, like, why I was even there, really. And I would ask people why I was there, and they would just tell me, you know, your mom has, like, gotten into some trouble, and she has to just clean up some stuff or something. I don't know, I just never got it.
Yeah.
And is it okay if I talk about, like, now why I
No,
now
yeah,
I know
totally.
why? Okay.
Do it.
So, now when I talk to my mom about it, she says that, like, as soon as she got her kids taken away, she got clean right away. Like, drugs were dropped. I mean, she's dropped them before. When she got pregnant, she had no problem dropping them. And obviously her kids are way more important than drugs. So, she noticed that right away and totally got clean and sober right away. And, there were some cases, like, in the courtroom where they would just totally go against everything she was doing and, like, just no matter what she did every single thing. She didn't have a car and she would still make it to all the meetings she had to be at, all the court dates on time, like all the way in Newport. She would find her way no matter what. She always did everything right. And they would still fight against her for 4 years long. Like, they did that to her, and she was clean. She went to jail for one night. That day she got arrested, she went to jail for one night, got out clean and sober and for 4 years.
So weird. I remember you told me that. And
Yeah,
it
they
just
never.
seems so, it's just so wrong.
Yeah.
Because that's,
And she just, I don't really know the reasons why they would hold so much stuff against her, but she must have had like some kind of past where like different things can come up, you know, and so she just had it really, really hard and absolutely never gave up.
Yeah. Well, that's incredible.
Yeah, it was super, super powerful. Like, during the time, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
When I was sitting in foster care, I resented my mom a lot. By the time I heard so many different things about her, and like caseworkers would come and ask me questions, and I had no idea. They would ask me if I ever watched her do drugs, and I was like, well, I don't know, maybe. Like, I don't know. Yeah, but then, so if I say maybe, I don't know, that puts 10 times more on her that I had no idea.
Yeah.
So then they take that to court and your daughter watched you do drugs, and she admitted it. And so that's little things like that. And then when I started to realize that, it all came back on me, like, this is my fault. I'm still here because of me. And then different things happen, throughout the years.
No, you're okay. That was the thing that it makes the sound. It's okay, sorry. I hate having to pause, like, it's horrible.
Wait, does that mean it stopped recording?
Yeah, just now, but it's okay.
Okay. So that was 20 minutes.
Why is it doing that? Now it says 27 seconds. This is ridiculous.
Who is?
Yeah, oh my gosh. Well, he was supposed to empty the memory card out, and he did, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know why this is happening.
I'm not very good technology-wise, so I wouldn't be very good helping you. Can you text Zach and have him zoom up? Is he in the building?
Maybe, I think so, he should be, but.
So what was, I don't want to mess up, but they have a question why you're doing that, but what about, what was the family like, that, Destiny's
I think that's one of her questions.
Yeah, that's one of the.
I'll answer it.
Never mind.
No, it's okay, sorry.
No, I don't want to mess up the order and.
Oh, this is so weird. Why is it doing this? Okay, I'm gonna like call Arden or Zach. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm really sorry.
It's okay, as long as we just
It's not
don't do
your
this
fault.
in the middle of the deep part.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm worried about is